You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, your overly verbose and jocular host, and with me is my partner,
Rocco
the Rock. You know, the name fits. You give me as much as a rock here with the entertainment value, man. You just got to step it up. More caffeine is what I'm saying. More caffeine in the mornings. A lot of high sugar diet. Some Fruit Loops and 4 espressos, and it would be a whole different game on this podcast. I'm just throwing it out there to consider. But because I don't know, I mean you can't think of anything else that has more sugar in it than Fruit Loops. It's
there was always Fruity Pebbles.
There you go. Eat that stuff, you just be bouncing off the ceiling. So, all right. Well, because you didn't give me much, you know what it means, Rocco. It means it's time for the engineering joke of the week. You ready?
Oh boy.
So I don't know if I had a chance to tell you this week, but my favorite calculator, it stopped working midway through the day yesterday. I guess.
Really?
I guess I just can't count on it anymore.
God.
Come on. Dad jokes 101. You gotta love it. Oh goodness. So all right. So we're starting another, I guess we call it a semi-regular topic here on the show today. And we call this one Bluebeam Features You Need in Your Life. Because Bluebeam it's such a huge tool in the construction and design world. And honestly, it has just become a major part of the consulting and training services that we offer at Zentech, right? So we thought, our listeners would get some real benefit out of just discussing some of the more powerful features that the system offers, but that I am personally always surprised that people don't know about or use. So the plan here is to try and hit this as a recurring topic once a month. But we'll see how that goes with our insane schedules and how many guests Rocco lines up for the podcast to shift things. But for today's show, I want to talk about Revu's document compare feature, which is a remarkable tool. But so many people who use Bluebeam every day don't even know that this is available to them. So Rocco, from a practical standpoint, how many folks that you talk to are interested in being able to, compare construction documents or contracts and identify, what the differences are between them?
Yeah, it's definitely a popular feature that people use, and one of the biggest features of Bluebeam, that we come across. I mean, there's certainly tons of features within Bluebeam, but definitely one of the more common ones.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. So, I mean, the great thing here is that the document compare tool, it's available to you, right? If you're listening and you have Bluebeam, whatever version of Bluebeam you're listening, you have this tool. Whether it's, the pre-version 21, standard CAD extreme versions, or their newer basic core complete structure that they renamed this year, everybody has access to this basic tool. And honestly, I think it's been around since the 2012 version as well. So, I mean, even the release year review you're on really shouldn't matter, right? This is a tool that everybody can use. And the concept is a really simple one, right? A lot of us, right, particularly on the construction side of the fence, are constantly being bombarded with revisions and updates and changes and as-builts and other PDF edits to our drawings and contract documents, and finding the changes on each version isn't always easy. Look, in an ideal world, right, the architects and the engineers or the subs or whoever are putting, revision bubbles and call outs on any changes that they make, but that's not always the case. I think that's particularly lacking with we'll call them interim updates, right? And RFI alterations, things like that. Full revisions, to be fair, right? When you're doing a revision to a document, right? The engineers, architects, the designers, they get careful attention from the design people. It's those one-off quick updates, right? That tend to get you just, hey, here's a new PDF and an email that says something like, oh, by the way, we moved that column we talked about last week over 6 inches. And that's all you get, right? And the problem, of course, is it was a week ago. Which column were we talking about? I don't even remember that call. And what building is that in? And what floor? And what size column was it? Oh, and you know what? You moved it 6 inches, but in what direction? Did you move it left, right, up, down? I have no idea. Right? And this is the kind of stuff that, haunts us all and makes us crazy, right? Trying to get our answers. And the delays that they cause can be really costly, right? In both time and money on our construction jobs. So Rocco, let's put it this way, right? When you're talking to people, do you find that, construction or design people are more interested in using the document compare tool in Bluebeam?
I think it's more on the design end, but there's, we definitely see folks across the board using it, and I mean, like we said, it's a hugely impressive functionality, and those who've never used Bluebeam, or let's say the older crowd who are moving to Bluebeam and see this functionality.
You mean guys like me? Is that what you're trying to say? People with white beards and no hair? Where you're going? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, no, that they're hugely impressed by it because it's it saves a ton of time and adds a huge level of accuracy to your whole process.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm like I said, so using document compare, right? Using it, actually getting into it's a very simple process. All you need, right, is the original or what we'll call the older document, right? That you have already, and whatever the new document is, and Bluebeam. That's it. It's 3 things. The document compare, you run it in Bluebeam, just if you guys are going to look in your Bluebeam right now, you just go to your document drop-down menu, right, and click on compare documents option. You don't need to have either of those documents open, or any documents for that matter, to run this tool. Review is, when you click on that, review is going to bring up a dialog box, and it's going to ask you to select 2 PDFs, and it calls them document A and document B, right? Where document A is the old or original version of the PDF, and document B is the updated one where you're trying to identify what's been changed. And look, there are a number of display settings and options available here that honestly they just don't really translate well to a spoken podcast like this. But they're basically just letting you set up, how you're identifying the different areas and how they're going to look, right? So by default, what Bluebeam is going to do is it's going to go in, it's going to find the areas that are different, and it's going to put revision clouds or bubbles, right, filled in with a transparent orange to identify areas that are different between, document A and document B. But you can make that show or display any way that you need it to. Bluebeam's even going to give you options for showing these differences in a split screen inside Review, right? So that you can look at the original and the modified file side by side, so you can see exactly where the changes are. And for most of us, these changes, it means identifying changes to your construction drawings, right? That's pretty common. But I want to point out here that this works in exactly the same manner on text-based PDFs, right? So if you have a 600-page spec or a contract or a statement of work or, scoping documents that have been edited and updated, and you want to verify changes, right, before you go in there and you kind of, put your John Hancock on it and, accidentally sign your grandkids into indentured servitude, Review will show you the changes in those text-based documents as well. So Rocco, I actually do this a lot for our internal statements of work, right, and our contract edits here at Zentek, so that we're certain of what changes have been made. So how beneficial do you find that? All right, and do you talk to a lot of folks who want to use it for contract-based kind of work?
You mean those statements of work that are written in Swahili by lawyers
And those would be the
that
ones.
that I spend hours reading from week to week?
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep.
Oh, yeah, those. Yeah, that's no, that's hugely beneficial, and I don't think enough people look to use Bluebeam for that functionality, but it is hugely helpful, um, and definitely, yeah, definitely helpful.
Okay. What about, in terms of like other people? I mean, do people actually come to you and talk to you about like, hey, I've got, they're like you, right? They're reading the Swahili from the lawyers, 30 hours a week. Do you see people come in and saying, I need something that'll help me kind of minimize that? Or is this still really mainly focused in that construction document space for us?
I think it's mostly in the construction document space, but I don't think that Bluebeam is marketed enough to handle the document overlays, particularly for contract
Yeah.
review purposes.
Yep. And that's kind of why I wanted to make sure we brought it up here today, because it is, like I said, it's one of those areas people never think that, oh, I can take this beyond just looking at my drawings. I can take this into my everyday workload. So just want to make sure folks were thinking about that. All right, so we're going to take a break here. Let's get a quick word in from today's sponsor, so that, Rocco can afford to go out and buy himself another new yacht. So, all right, folks, stand by. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. Hey, everybody, this is Jim and Rocco with ZenTech Consultants, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the training options that we have available here for you guys at ZenTech Consultants. We offer public training classes as well as private custom courses for all of your software and design needs. So, Rocco, why don't you tell the folks what kind of training we offer and how do they reach out to us to get it going for them?
Yeah, Jim, we cover everything from Bluebeam to Autodesk to Microsoft to BricsCAD to civil site design training and beginner through to advanced level topics. Like you said, both public and private courses. If you got a group and want to run a class specifically for your team, we can help you. So just feel free to hit our website. We're at zentechconsultants.net. That's ZENTEK, or you can give us a ring, 866-824-4459, or even drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net.
There you go, ZenTech Consultants for all of your technology training need. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast, where we're talking about using the document compare feature inside of Bluebeam Revu. That will help us to identify alterations between different versions of documents, right? Whether they're drawing or text-based edits, doesn't matter. And then one of the things that I want to point out here for our listeners is that Bluebeam will allow you to do document compare on different areas of different drawings and even at different scales if you need to. And what I mean by that, you're not locked into comparing, drawing A1 against the updated copy of drawing A1. Okay. If what you got, right, there's some changes that someone sends you in a file called, my sketch, and that drawing is a copy of a piece of the A1 plan at a different size and a different scale. Revu is going to let you compare those completely different documents in exactly the same way. I just want to throw that out there, give you an idea of kind of the power that we're dealing with. That's kind of crazy powerful stuff. And look, I will say this, right? It does require a bit of explanation and some training to get that set up and working and running effectively. But honestly, it is nothing that is overly difficult. And not surprisingly, right? It is actually something that we cover. And a number of the classes we have our Bluebeam for Practical Construction class and our Bluebeam for Advanced Users classes, and we cover the document compare processes in there. While we're there, we'll do the sales thing. Rocco, how do people sign up for or access recorded versions of those Bluebeam classes to help them get on top of this document compare tool?
Yeah, well, before I address that, just so that everybody's aware, we actually do have an on-demand webinar available on the website at zentechconsultants.net, where you can actually see a webinar on these this document compare
I bet it was taught by a
functionality.
really, really entertaining and handsome guy too.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So anyway, no, but the classes, yeah, we offer both on demand as well as live classes. And if you hit up our website, you'll see we do classes that are broken down into 2 hour sessions, 8 hour long classes, broken down into 2 hour sessions, that you can do either through public or private classes, or you could purchase the on demand class and have access to it for 7 days. So you want to hit up the website and check it all out, or reach out to us, sales@zentechconsultants.net, or give us a call, 866-824-4459.
There you go. And there's our sales function for the day. I made Rocco happy. So, look, I think another important thing to understand about the document compare tools in Review is that while it comes with all versions of Review, right? We talked about that earlier. By default, it is only going to let you compare two PDFs at a time, right? One against the other to kind of start with. And don't get me wrong, that is still really powerful stuff. But you kind of want to look at it, right? What happens when you're having to deal with changes and updates to dozens or even hundreds of documents? Okay, you don't want to have to go through doing a few hundred comparisons manually. Yeah, it's still better than trying to do it, by eye with a pen. But it's still, the idea of having to go through and do this, 30, 40, 50 times to identify a dozen simple changes, still very tedious. Luckily, Bluebeam has thought of that. And there is an enhanced version of the document compare tool that can help you out with that exact issue. Now, of course, this being America, the land of capitalism, that functionality ain't free, folks. You will need to upgrade your Bluebeam Revu to the highest level to get what they call, quote unquote, batch functionality for document compare. I said a plus to that, though, is that, the batch feature that you get, it lets you apply it to a whole slew of different tools where you can use batch functionality to make your life easier, right? It's not just the dynamic compare that we're talking about today. And we'll hit some of those in future discussions in this kind of topic. So Rocco, so people know, right? What's the price difference that people are looking at if they want to upgrade to either, if they get an older version, to the extreme or the modern, complete version of Review, so they can get the full batch function tool?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tread lightly on the quote unquote upgrade topic, because what I tell you today will change tomorrow with how quickly Bluebeam's been changing their policies. As of today, if you're on active maintenance, it seems with a perpetual license, it seems that Bluebeam will let you upgrade to Bluebeam Revu Extreme, and it's a couple $100. If you're not on maintenance, then you're basically stuck. So, but if with the new annual licenses, the cost of basics is $240, core is $300 a year, and complete is $400 a year. So, again, like we say many times on this podcast, Bluebeam is extremely affordable for the functionality and benefit that you get. Just the transition to this annual license structure has been a little bumpy for customers. There's been a little bit of frustration going on, but we'll get through it, and it's definitely worth looking at the annual license structure and being current with Bluebeam.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, right? Like Rocco said, there is a cost to get these tools, but honestly, I got to say that's pretty negligible, right? What is like $100 a year for the benefits that it gives. The truth is that that's pretty much going to pay for itself the very first time you use the batch tools, right? Just in the number of hours that you save on one job. So the batch functionality for document compare, it's a really simple tool to use. Basically, what you do is you go in, you're going to select a list of your current PDFs, right? The ones you've been working with, and another list of the revised or altered ones. Right? And it can be literally thousands of documents across multiple cloud or server locations in different folders and even different companies, right? It's anything you can access. And Review will even let you go in this batch functionality and specify the pages that you want to compare in each of those files. In other words, if there's 30 page structural PDF, and you know that there were only changes on pages 5 and 23, right? You can tell Review to only run the compare against those specific pages, right? And from there, Review does a matchup process to connect which existing and revised files go together. And it does that based on the file name and the page number and a couple other tools and features inside of Bluebeam to help you identify what goes in. And then what it does is it gives you a chance to verify each connection, right? And you can change it if there are any errors, right? Or even manually, if it just can't find connections for certain files because they're completely renamed, you can manually say, hey, Jim's markup goes with drawing A4, right? You can tie those together, even if they have completely different naming and numbering conventions. And one of the things that I really like here is that you can save this massive list of thousands of files as a config file so that you can run comparisons against the same files again and again without having to rebuild the list. All right? That way, as you get into revision 2 and then revision 3 and then revision 4, all you have to do is overwrite the revised files, right, to the same folder and then rerun the process. Okay? You can use the same file list to run the comparisons again and again and again in just a few seconds. And here's the other thing I really like about that, it's even better, that the lists that you create using these batch functionalities, they will be used with those other batch feature tools that I told you come with the upgrade to the complete. And we'll talk about some of those in future episodes, but the batch list of documents can be used for document overlay and slip sheeting and headers and updates and comparisons. It's just dozens of things. It's really, really nice. So Sarak, let me ask you this then. Let's look at it from a business standpoint. In terms of people who opt to use the higher cost versions of Review, right? How many people kind of roll with the top end versus the lower end products, right? And do they need to go one way or another? Do they have to be all one or all the other, or can they mix and match?
No, you could definitely mix and match, versions of Bluebeam. If we're talking strictly Bluebeam V21 here, most people are fine. I mean, I'd say that 90% of the people out there, we steer towards the core version. But if you need that advanced capabilities, the batch slip sheeting, the quantity linking, to Excel capabilities, then you want to look at the complete version. And if you're more of a power user, you want to look at the complete version. But for the most part, most people are fine with the core version.
Yep. Yeah, and like I say, I know we have a lot of folks who will keep in-house, like, one or two of the completes just so they can do the batch functionality on certain machines, and then everybody on a daily basis uses just the core, right, just to save a little bit of money. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It works really well. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up here for today just, by saying that, the document compare feature of Review, whether it's in the single or the batch mode, it's a priceless feature that has saved my butt on projects and contracts multiple times as I made typos and missed items and accidentally deleted things. And yes, even when a few folks have tried to slip things into revisions without telling us. It's them damn sneaky lawyers, folks. Don't ever trust them. They do that. So if you use Bluebeam in your company and you haven't been passing every update through this document compare process on your jobs, believe me, folks, you want to learn how to do this ASAP. It's something that I use almost every day, and everybody listening out there, y'all should be doing exactly the same. All right, folks, with that, we're going to bounce out of here, and we will catch you next time on the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody, today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.